Today's podcast episode is about dating. Welcome to the podcast.
Yes, the A to Z podcast.
Yes. I did see what I did there?
Yeah. Segue.
Yeah. So I don't know where it comes from.
Wow, okay. Why don't we, let me see. So, dating multiple people at the same time versus just like, dating one. What do you think? What do you think about that? Because I feel like where you come from, it's more common for people to be dating multiple people at once. I would say no.
No. So, first off, because I think one of the things that's on there is to like, why do we date at all? What is the purpose of dating?
Oh yeah.
And I think I can answer that by talking about this. I think in the Midwest, which, I mean, some people will argue. I'm from Wisconsin and grew up between Wisconsin and Illinois and a little bit in Arkansas when I was younger. And it just was like, it's just what you do. I don't even know if anybody really stops to think about, do I want to be in a relationship? I don't think anybody really ever questioned that. Like when you're in high school and stuff like that. It's just what you do. You need a date to the dance. You know, your friends are dating people, so you want somebody to. Obviously there are people who don't date. But I just don't think it wasn't really a mindful thing. And I think that I don't think when I was younger, people weren't dating multiple people. They were mostly they would get one person. And sometimes they would ride it out all through high school. There's a fair amount of people who married the person who they started dating in 9th grade.
Oh, wow.
The person 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. Like, people where I'm from, you pick a person, and no matter what else, you may even cheat on them several times. you may
stick it out.
Yeah, you may both cheat on each other several times, but at the end of the day, this is the person that you're with, and everybody knows it. That's it.
Interesting.
And it's like really only the people I knew who moved to a bigger city, a different place, that started to date multiple people. But even then, it's just the mentality. Like, you find your person and you stick with them. I think most of the people that I know from Wisconsin in particular, I mean, maybe they had 2 boyfriends or girlfriends, maybe, but the person that they're with is somebody that they grew up with.
Wow.
In some way.
Okay, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, no, it's very, which I think should explain a little bit my mindset previously about dating, because I just didn't really, my mind wasn't like, I know that people are like, date a bunch, date often, figure out what you like, figure out what you don't like. You know, people say that a lot too for like intimacy. They always say that, like, how do you know what you like if you didn't try this or that?
Yeah, which is kind of weird to me, because at the end of because you know what you like in terms of like what you like to do and stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know what you like to do. You know what you find funny. You know how you want to be treated by anybody. Because it doesn't necessarily change. I mean, you're a bit more intimate with your significant other. But in terms of just like what you want to do, what makes you laugh, how you like to be treated by others, you should already know all those things.
Yeah. I think that statement is just like a cliche. I think it's just a thing that people say. I think what really is happening, though, is that anybody who is dating multiple people or doing short things, it's because they don't want to be in a relationship.
Right. And that's kind of the thing to say is like, oh, well, I'm just trying to figure out, like, you know, what works for me.
You're not.
You're having a good time.
Sorry, that sounds judgmental. Maybe you are. It doesn't. One of my really good friends, who, like, her first, I won't say her first, but like the man that she married when she was talking to me about him, and it was pretty early on in their relationship, and she was like, I think I could marry him. I was like, you just met him. I was like, what makes you think that you could marry him? And she said, it's not hard to know what you want. And that, like, sometimes she just drops like some bars. And I'm like, but I think about that all the time, because I'm like, people will try to convince you that you don't know yourself, that you are not, because that's really what we're talking about. How well do you know yourself to come across somebody to be like, yeah, this is for me and this is not for me? Doesn't mean it's going to work out, because there's lots of reasons why things don't work out. But you can know whether or not that person might be right for you. And I think sometimes it comes down to like little technicalities, but it also comes down to your mindset on like, are there more fish in the sea? Do I want to go fishing again?
Yeah.
Type of thing. Because some people will just tough it out and make it work, for better or for worse. But yeah, I think that most of the people that I'm now in this space, no, maybe a little bit. I knew a few people from high school or from college who dated like a lot of different people. I mean, a lot of my friends in high school, a lot of them didn't even date at all.
Oh, really? In high school?
Nope. None. Not one. Nobody. and like they didn't start dating anybody till college or after. I don't really know why.
Yeah, what was your graduating class?
850. Yeah, and I was on the cross country team, and a lot of those cross country girls, they just didn't have boys on the brain.
Well, yeah, maybe it's just because there was just a lot more pressure to succeed, to focus on like being successful. Maybe. I really couldn't tell you.
I don't know what it was, because they were like, you know, they had friends and they were relatively, you know, they were smart. They were very, very smart young ladies. They were in clubs, and obviously they were in sports. So it wasn't like they didn't have time. I just don't think that they were interested, or maybe they didn't know how to. Or maybe they just thought all the boys who were around were dumb.
Yeah, they were just like, nah, not for me.
Yeah, but almost all of them that I knew, or a lot of them, by the time they'd gone to college or after they'd met somebody that they liked.
The culture of dating and stuff definitely picks up when you go to college.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, that's also because you're not in your parents' house anymore.
Right.
And that makes a big difference as to like, I mean, you're
opportunity.
Opportunity, yeah. You're just going to go to more places. You're going to go meet somebody at the library, or meet somebody at a bar, or whatever. I
feel it was surprisingly similar where I lived, especially I think in high school. We had a graduating class, I want to get the number exactly right. I think 64. It may have been 63, maybe. But yeah, so we didn't have very many people, you know. So there wasn't a lot of opportunity to really be dating around. Everyone knew everyone, kind of. So, I mean, you would be in a relationship with somebody, and if it didn't work out, then you would get in a relationship with someone else. But you weren't like going out on dates with multiple people within the same period of time.
Yeah.
It just wasn't so. I mean, because you'd have to drive to like an hour to go to Texarkana to even have a good, you know, date, essentially, unless you went to the Broken Bow Theater. But I don't think people really wanted to go to that theater very much. It wasn't one of the best. They had like 2 different rooms, I think, for showings or something like that. Gosh. Yeah, it wasn't very pomp and circumstance.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you.
Yeah, you are. You're laughing at my lived experience, and you're making fun of me.
It's like funny to picture, but I'm not.
A building with just 2,
like,
2 theater room showings.
You see everyone you know.
Yeah, you go there and it's like, oh, I know them. I stopped at a gas station once with my family in Texarkana, and I saw like 3 other people from high school there just by happenstance.
Yeah.
Texarkana was the place to go. It was the place to be if you wanted to do something, either that or the local Walmart.
Did a lot of people end up moving to Texarkana?
Not to my knowledge. Some people went to college there, but I think they just kind of a lot of people went to college in SAU. I think and then just kind of like spread out. I think somewhere in Little Rock, and then.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of them, I think like stayed south of Center, Arkansas. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, it was very similar to kind of what you're explaining. It was like for you. It just wasn't happening a lot. But that's why I was like, because you come from, a bigger area. So and maybe that's more of like the young adult game when you're in a bigger city is having a period of time where you're going out and dating multiple people at once. I think that's like a really big, maybe not, but in California, I think that happens a lot there.
California, and like what I'm thinking of is like New York. I think New York has a very, like, you date multiple people, you go on different kinds of dates. Like, I think everybody, when you think of dating, you might think of like Sex in the City or like How I Met Your Mother. Is that in New York?
I don't know. I think
I hate that
it
show.
could be. Oh,
I know. I'm sorry, everybody.
I mean,
I really don't like it.
You got Barney Stinson.
I don't like when relationships go back and forth on a TV show.
Oh.
And the will they, won't they, for the love of God.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's just because of how I grew up. I'm like, you either want to be with them or you don't.
Right.
Like, knock it off.
So yeah, I can see that. It's just annoying for you then.
It is so
You're like,
annoying.
what the heck are you doing?
Yeah, like,
why are you playing this game?
And that's
Why
the
are you
thing.
not being upfront and honest with, like,
Why are
how
we
you
playing
feel?
games?
Yeah.
Just do
Yeah.
the thing or not do the thing. Nobody's pressuring you.
Right.
Like, stop being annoying.
Right.
Figure out what you want and then do that. But that's...
I don't think there's anything wrong with dating multiple people at one time, as long as I do think you kind of have a responsibility to let them know you're doing that, which is, I guess, can be awkward, I would imagine. But I feel like...
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, you sit down on the
We
first
have
date.
no idea.
You're at like an IHOP. Yeah, we don't have much dating experience,
Nope.
but you're sitting at your local IHOP in Southern California, and it's your first date with this person, and you're like, yeah, so I'm seeing like, why not? Why not? And so,
It shows how much
you know what?
we
Fine,
date.
some type of like local boutique place with like coffee with bee pollen in it. I don't know. And
Don't get it, you'll get diarrhea.
yes, don't do that. And tamarind, make sure the tamarind's out too. But you sit down there, you start drinking your bee pollen coffee, and you're like, yeah, so I'm actually dating like 5 other people too right now, just letting you know. But that's information, because the other person may not be into sitting down and having a date with somebody who's dating multiple other people, because that might not be their vibe.
But some people, it is my sense that people think I only need to tell you what you need to know when you need to know it.
I don't like the idea that the person who has the information is the arbiter of when they think the other person should need to know it. I feel like that...
Preaching to the choir, but that is not what
Yeah.
people think.
Well, then they should change how they think. And I'll be the first or second or third. I don't know how many other people who have said it, but I'll be one of them.
Because people really value their privacy.
But it's
Like-
not. But if you're entering, as soon as you start dating people and you're talking to them and you're trying to form a bond with them, you're entering not like a contract, but you're entering like some kind of mutual understanding between each other. And if there's, I mean, you don't need to come out and tell them like, these are the horrible things I did when I was 12 years old or something. And yeah, so you grab your bee pollen coffee drink and you sit down and you're like, I'm dating multiple other people, but I don't think that they need to. I think they should tell stuff like that up front when it's about the relationship. You don't need to be upfront about everything you've done as an individual throughout your life, but if you're doing something that is related to dating that person in some way, information that could change their decision on continuing to date you, then you should bring that up.
See, I hear you, and I agree. I don't know how much
About to play devil's advocate here.
everybody... No, I'm just... It is my sense that people don't do that.
I think that's a way to. I think that's a way for people to shield themselves and not enter into uncomfortable situations. They tell themselves, "No, that's my business. I don't need to tell them that I'm dating, multiple people at this time. If it gets serious, then I'll tell them." I feel like that's just a way for them to get around it. Because what you're doing then is you're saying, "I'm going to wait until I feel a certain way about you, and I feel like you feel a certain way about me, to let you know I've also been seeing multiple other people." Mm-hmm. And then what if that person is like, "Well, shoot, this kind of changes everything for me. Like, I don't like it when people, like, that makes me see you differently."
Yeah.
And now you've entered into a position where you've both allowed yourself to start to have feelings, mm-hmm. but now that could ruin it. Because you weren't upfront about it at first, and it starts to ruin the perception of that other person that they've had of you leading up to that moment. When if you would have been honest at first, maybe there could have been a discussion about it. Maybe he could have. Maybe the other person could have been like, "Hey, like that. I'm not really a big fan of that. Like, if you'd really like to continue dating me, then we kind of got to, keep it at just me." And then maybe the other person could have just like waited like 4 weeks, just dated that one person for 4 weeks if that first date went well enough, and then was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I actually kind of really like this guy. I think I'll continue doing this." And then they wouldn't have had the problem.
Hey, man. I'm with you.
But nobody else is. I hear you.
Do you think that IHOP is a good first date?
I think it can be. I wouldn't recommend it probably, but I think it can be.
I think it can be if it's a part of something else.
Maybe if both parties ate at IHOP with their families a lot growing up. And it's just very sentimental.
I mean, maybe. I was going to say, like, if they went to, like, a movie or they saw a concert and it was late and then they went to IHOP
at, like, 2 a.m.
Yeah.
2 a.m. IHOP hits.
That's quirky.
I think that is quirky. Yeah. Yeah.
It's, like,
I've done that a couple of times. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm always surprised to hear, because I, like, listen to other podcasts and people are like, the movies is a terrible first date. Don't take somebody to a movie. Don't take them to a coffee date, because you need to show, like, and this is mostly like advice, like the men need to show an investment in the relationship early. So they need to that's what some people say. And then other people are like, "Oh, you just can't get to know people in a movie," or something like that. I'm a weenie, I guess. I'm fine with going to a movie.
I think I agree with the other people.
Mm-hmm.
Movies, especially if that's all you do, it's a horrible first date.
But it gives you, yes, but it also gives you something to talk about.
It does before you like if you do the movie first and then you eat or something. It does give you something to talk about. I agree with that. I don't know. I think it's okay if you do something else with it. But I say just get in there, just go to a restaurant or go do something where you have to talk first. Get that uncomfortableness out of the way. Interact.
I wouldn't mind doing an activity, like if it's like mini golf.
Yeah, I was just about to say mini golf.
If it's like going on maybe not like a hike or a walk or anything, because I don't know you.
Yeah, right.
Really.
Yeah. You don't want to get into the woods. Yeah. Careful with that.
Yeah. But like,
you don't want to end up on the news.
Roller skating or like going to see a music show. Mm-hmm. Like, going
to a chill concert.
Yeah. Because, you can talk. You can have a conversation with somebody, and you should figure out sooner or later if you can have a conversation with them that you like.
Right.
But you, like you're saying though, or whoever's saying it, or maybe I'm just saying it, I don't know.
Someone's saying this.
Someone's speaking. I don't think you need to talk a lot about like, so like, how many siblings do you have? Where did you go to college?
No.
Like, duh. Like, I would rather know if like, does like you being around me get on my nerves?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you chew your food in a way where I'm like, this is not gonna work out?
Oh, interesting.
Like, because those are the things that with that, at least for me, when you get into a relationship, start to.
I don't think I've ever been around. Oh, well, no, I take that back. I have been around somebody who I was like, man, I can hear you smacking and your mouth is closed. What's going on? How are you doing this?
And I bet you wouldn't marry that person.
It's my brother, so no. You're right.
All right. Yeah, see?
You're right. Yeah. But that's an example. That's an example of, because at first I was like, I don't think I've ever been around somebody who I was like, man, they're chewing like,
well, that's
really
just
weird,
one,
but.
like, I do think it's like the things from other podcasts that I've heard when people are talking about relationships, but I do think it resonates with me that, like, how well do you and I make plans together? Because I've been in relationships in the past where, like, we do not make plans well.
Okay, can you explain that? Because, like, what do you mean?
Yeah, so, like, when we're saying, like, do you want to do this? Whatever. It would be like the way that the plans were being communicated is not in a way that makes sense to both parties. So there's some confusion there.
How does that, is it over text?
No.
How does that happen?
Because some people would want, we're going to go A, B, C, and D. We're going to arrive at A at X time. We're going to arrive at B at Y time.
Yeah, okay.
Blah, blah, blah. We're going to do this. We're going to, if it rains, maybe we'll do this instead. It's like...
That's some thorough planning.
But it can be thorough, but it doesn't have to feel like you're literally having an itinerary.
Yes, yeah.
It can, like, I think it comes down to, like, a communication style thing.
Right.
Because I've been in situations where, like, me and the other person, maybe we do communicate to the ends of the earth, like, very thorough, very in-depth. But for some reason, that level of detail still left room for error. Versus, like, there are other people who I've communicated with where it's like, it just feels, it's succinct and it's sure. And it makes things happen more seamlessly, even though it was like, but-up.
Right. Yeah. I think some people are just bad when it comes to, because I was talking with somebody recently who was like, yeah, I made plans with this person, and they said 20 more minutes, and then like 30 minutes later they said, oh, I went to Walmart, to do this, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I don't understand. So maybe some people just don't function in that way, because that's why I asked like that, because I was just like, it's hard, because I don't think I've ever had very many experiences with people where it was just like there were bits of a gathering or event plans that just went misunderstood or something.
It used to happen to me all the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because it does suck. It's not fun.
It does stink. So
because then it can ruin, and I'm sure it maybe did sometimes, like the kind of the vibe going into it. Yeah.
And I do think that's like when you're on a first date, the type of information that I would want to know is like, are we even gonna be able to understand each other? And not in the sense of like, are you also Christian? But like,
yeah.
When you speak, can I make sense of your words? And I know that feels like that's probably not important, but that has happened. Like, to me, that
I think
takes
it is.
A lot of
I think it is. I just think that it's such like a bare bones, basic thing that people should want, that people don't even think about it, because it's just like. But for you who's experienced that not happening, it's on the forefront of your mind, because you're like, yeah, this needs to be a thing.
Yeah.
But for me, who hasn't had that experience, really, I don't like. That's just like that's just been it's a given. It's going to happen.
These days, if you could take your wife, go back, but like, you're the age. Sound effects by Zach Burton by August. Here,
You can do it.
Head.
Oh.
Say you and Camilla are not married now,
Okay.
but you're the ages you are now,
Okay.
and your life.
29?
You have the circumstances you have now.
Okay.
Where would you like to take her on a first date?
Do I know her?
It's a first date.
Oh, yeah. Well, I could know her still.
Did you know her before?
Before what?
When you met her in real life.
Did I know her before I
Did
met
you
her,
know-
Amber?
No. Like, did you know her before you took her on a date? You
A
asked
little
her on a
bit.
date.
A little
so you
bit.
know her the same amount
Okay.
as you did back then.
Okay. Where would I, and we're here. We're here in Northwest Arkansas.
Well, you don't have to say, like, the specific establishment, but, like,
Oh.
what kind of date would you like to take her on? Like, what would you want to do?
I think dinner and like some type of nature related activity. I might would go on like I might would suggest like a walk on a trail maybe
Oh, like
within the
Crystal
city
Bridges or
yeah
something?
something like that. Like I might would suggest something like that in addition to dinner. Yeah.
What kind of food? Where would you take her?
Probably not. It's the first date. You're not getting like nothing too fancy, you know. But you got to work up to that.
So what?
Because you're setting an expectation with the first date, you know, not just in like who you are as a person and what they can expect from you, but just in terms of like what what you're suggesting and what you choose to do too and stuff, right? Because, you see posts and things about people who are saying like, oh, yeah, I left the first date or I didn't do another date because they took me to this place and it wasn't fancy enough or something like that. And it's just like, so I feel like that's kind of a good way to weed people like that out, too, is by taking them somewhere that's just kind of like, middle of the road.
Like
so
Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Or like Texas Roadhouse or maybe even Cracker Barrel, honestly. I love Cracker Barrel.
I've never been there for dinner.
You've never been to Cracker Barrel for dinner
I think I've only ever gone for like their breakfast food.
or lunch? You know what? I think I've always. Anyways, places like that, middle of the road, nice, good food choices. And then something like Crystal Bridges or like some type of chill activity that can spark conversation. But that also just allows you to like talk and get to know each other too, is what I would say.
Mm-hmm. Where did you go on your first date?
Oh, Taco Bell, and we watched Deadpool in theaters. Great combo.
But,
So what I said earlier, about but we watched Deadpool first, I think, and then did Taco Bell.
But that probably gave you a good indication of like what kind of.
Yeah, true. Because
What kind of person
you're
she
saying
was.
yes to a movie like Deadpool.
Yeah.
It kind of shows like what kind of sense of humor you have
Yeah.
and stuff. And so like that is good to, the movie thing can be a good addition to a first date.
I do think that dates, if you're going to go on a date, dates should be a reflection of the two people going on the date. Like,
Yes.
don't invite somebody to the opera and you don't like opera music.
Right. But they do. And so you're like,
Right.
oh, let's go to the, yeah.
Unless it's like if they said, oh, I really love the opera, then maybe, yeah. But like.
Mm-hmm. If you've never
just-
tried it before.
If you've never tried it
But if you don't
before-
like it, then
I just
I don't
think
know.
it's like if she didn't say anything about it and you didn't, or he, whatever, if they didn't say anything about it, but you were like, oh, this sounds fancy, I'm going to take them to
Yeah,
this. They're
right.
like, I'm going to take them on a helicopter ride, even though I'm afraid of heights.
Yes, right.
And it's
right.
$1 million. Like, don't.
Right. And I can only afford it this one time.
Yeah, like, so don't expect, no. Like,
Yeah.
that's not, that is a falsehood, I think.
I agree.
I think it's a bit deceptive to do that.
I think that goes into when people are thinking too much about it. You really just got to be like, well, just what would you typically do with like a friend? Because that's what's happening when you're going out on your first date. You're not, you don't have any labels on it yet. You're getting to know them. What would
Yeah.
you do with a friend?
Yeah. One thing that is really hard for me to wrap my mind around, kind of going back to your question and just thinking about how we grew up and how people dated. It's hard to think about people dating for fun versus dating with an intention for like long-term partnership.
So this is what I think I would say is maybe if you're dating for fun, that's not dating, maybe. Because I feel like dating should be with the end goal too. Because if you're dating for fun and you're dating multiple people, then you're not trying to reach that end goal like you're saying. So what you're really doing is you're just going out and having a good time with multiple different people. But you're not really, like, what is dating in those terms? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, maybe it's like, because, before people would be like, oh, so-and-so's dating, or they're seeing each other, and they're like, courting.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to specifically, like, or they're exclusive. Like, there used to be a little bit clearer, like,
Distinctions.
stages of a relationship. I think because we use dating synonymously with being in a relationship, it's hard to say. But I do think it's, like, interesting to, like, just want companionship from somebody you don't really know to go do a thing. Because, like you're saying about, like, oh, do what you would want to do with your friends or whatever. You don't know this person. So how do you know if you're going to have a good time? And you're just like, oh, well, I just wanted, to go to Cracker Barrel.
Some people,
with
too,
somebody.
I think some people just crave the connection from people they're not already getting it from because it makes them feel more special. Because it's like I think so.
It's a little cynical.
Oh, well, pardon me. but I think that's some of it. Not for everyone, but I think that's part of a reason why. And I also think that this is going to sound cynical, even more so. But I think that it's part of it's also maybe like low self-esteem. Because you're right, you don't know these people. So unless you maybe just don't have friends already, many friends, around you already, in that case, you should be going out looking for friends. But if you're going out looking for, like, people to quote unquote date, and you're doing it with multiple different people, then I don't know. It just seems like, I don't know. It's hard to put like a positive spin on that.
Well, I don't know either, but I really have been trying in the past few years, in the last year or two specifically, but mostly this past year, to really try to understand that. Because I don't, but it's so commonplace to be dating, like I even read an article about it, how most people these days don't date with the intention of getting married. They date with the mindset of, we'll see how it goes.
And that's different, because you can do that without dating multiple people at the same time. You can just be dating one person and be like, let's just see where this goes.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I meant...
right, and to compare both.
Dating, yeah. I think it just meant, like, dating one singular person. And... because, like we were saying before, there used to be very clearly defined stages. But now, if you're dating to see how it goes, then that's really like, I'm really like following my feelings here and following the feelings of this other person.
I think it's just a difference in wording, though, because I feel like even if you're dating and you have a desire to, marry somebody someday, you're still seeing where things go with that person. There's not really much of a difference.
Yeah, because like you're not gonna be like.
You're not saying you're the one from the get-go, right?
Yeah.
You're still seeing how things go with them.
Or you might be saying that, but then something will happen.
And it could ruin the whole thing. Yeah, oh gosh, I hope not.
And you're like, I can't do this.
Literally spills the beans in your car.
Yeah.
Maybe you're going to a potluck with your family.
And they
spill the beans.
Yeah, all over.
The back seat, that happened in college. That's why it came to mind, because someone
Oh.
spilled some beans.
And you broke up with them?
No.
No.
It was a friend. He just spilled beans in his own car.
Okay. Well, yeah, that is, I mean, everybody, like, feel free if you listen. Comment below to tell us or give us a sense of, like, healthy mindsets to approach dating with
Mhm.
that can give you, like, flexibility,
Mhm.
but also, like, good perspective.
And I actually think that that's what I'm dating just to see where things go is. I think that is a healthy mindset, because you're being honest with yourself with what's actually happening, and you're still leaving it open for that flexibility with the
Yeah.
other person. You're letting them know, like, hey, you know, like, we might be having a good time and I might be enjoying this, but that doesn't mean that this is like that we'll be able to enter the final stage.
Do you, in getting to this quote unquote final stage, because I've never been married,
Mm-hmm.
but
What?
you've been married.
At least once.
And most of your friends are married at
Yeah.
this point.
Mm-hmm.
Most of everybody you're around is married.
Mm-hmm. My parents are married.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so what kind of things, I guess, first for you, how did you know, like, okay, we're at this point where I'm going to ask her to marry me?
I think well, I didn't ask, remember? We just both kind of agreed.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
I think we were sitting in, like, the living room one day, and we were just talking about it, and like, the whole idea of having, like, a big wedding and, like, a bunch of people and stuff just seemed like really, not to say, because I think we plan on doing something like that, a more formal celebration in the future, but, you know, at the time, money was scarce. And so we were just we're both very, very practical people, I would say.
Yeah, you are.
Logical and practical people.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it came down to making that decision, we were both just like, I think someone had made a joke the day before about us getting married soon or something. And so it just came up in conversation. And so we just said, yeah, why don't we just go ahead and do that sometime soon, basically, and make it happen. And we did.
How long had you been together by then?
About, it was almost, let's see, 20, it was about 4-ish years or so.
Oh my God.
It was about 4-ish years.
That's a long time.
Wait a minute. Maybe 3.
How far into those 3 years, like, did you know, like, yeah, I'm probably going to marry her?
Probably like 2.5.
Like, around the second year?
Yeah, because like, in college, we were basically kind of living together anyway. And then after we graduated, while I was looking for something, we were living together with my family. And so that was like 6 months before I found something. Job market's tough for graduates, man. And but seeing, like, how we interacted living together, and being with my family and them liking her a lot and stuff, and that there were never any problems in that entire time period. There were never, because you hear people talk about, like, how, you know, their significant other doesn't, like, get along with parents or something like that, but there was never once a problem, and there has not been since. So I think all that was just like, this is just easy.
Yeah.
I enjoy my time around her. She's a very smart, funny, practical person, and that matches exactly how my disposition as a person as well, who's just here to have a good time, and I like having a good time. So I was like, it just makes sense.
Mm-hmm. For the people that you know, do you feel like they kind of followed that same, like, there was just a point where it was like, well, this just makes sense?
I think so, because I don't think there was, like, because I know, you know, when we've talked about this before, we talked about, like, the idea of kind of what you're getting from the other person in terms of like what skills or things they bring to the table and stuff. And I don't really think that any of the friends that I have that are married thought about it like that either. I think they thought about it the way that Cam and I did, which is just like, we really enjoy the time that we spend together. There's really not many negative moments we have to deal with because we're able to communicate so well. And so it just made sense. It was easy, and the love was definitely there.
I don't know if... So, like, my one friend that I was talking about before, she definitely was like, it just makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think... First of all, I don't know a lot of people who have gotten married. And if I think about, like, my friend, another friend who's kind of about to get married, engaged, like, she knows it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
He already has a ring. Like, they live together.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
I think living together is important beforehand, too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that all of the people that I know who have been married have lived
Mm-hmm.
with the person beforehand.
That's going to tell you really, like, you know,
Can I be with this person?
Yeah,
every day?
because how they handle themselves in the home, and like their cleanliness, their hygiene, their how they spend their day. Like if you go out and you're dating somebody, and you have a great time with them, you know, wherever you go, you have good conversations and stuff. But then let's say that like they have a real intense gaming culture with their friends, and so when they're at home they're like gaming a lot or something, and you're just not into that, and it's kind of boisterous a lot when that's happening, then that could be something that changes your mind, you know?
Yeah.
If it's just not kind of like the vibe that you like.
Yeah, that is like the interesting thing, the old school kind of like, don't live with the person before you get married.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that sounds like a lot. Like, the only other thing I would think where, like, again, if you knew the person and so you went over their house a lot
Mm-hmm.
when you were growing up or something like that. But, like, you definitely, it's kind of interesting to me that people just went into marriage without knowing what kind of,
Mm-hmm.
how that they could share space with this other person.
Because you're not forming a pact with them when you do live with them. I mean, you have a lease, but like you can do what you
leave
need
at any
to.
time.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's not working out. And so, and that is like, that's what I think it's really interesting that people will get really caught up in a lot of other stuff
Mm-hmm.
when they're dating or when it comes to relationships. But like, it just sounds like to me is like, can I stand this person every single day? Which sounds negative, but it's the truth.
That's what it comes down to.
Do I want to be around you? Do I like being around you? Do I want you to be around my friends and family?
Right.
Do I think you're going to be a good parent if I want children? Do you want children? Like, those are the real life things that don't really necessarily always feel like today that they're that important to people.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's kind of weird too, because you have people who are, you know, like don't get divorced, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is like the thing, and that is a big problem right now. You have a lot of people getting divorced, and maybe if they lived though with the person they got married with before they decided to get married, maybe they would have broke it off before they even got married.
Maybe,
because
yeah.
they had that opportunity to really just like feel things out.
Yes.
And so I think that if you want to tell people that, you know, once you get married, you should stick it out thick and thin, sickness and health, then you also have to kind of be okay with like this new kind of way of looking at relationships and really making sure you're testing the waters to make sure that it makes sense.
How much do you tolerate before you say like, no, this is
exactly.
not gonna work out? And I don't mean, I'm not saying that to say like I didn't, you know, I shouldn't have tolerated whatever. I'm just saying that to say like people should really think about that. Is like, how hard are you willing to try to make something work if it's just not clicking, if it's not clocking to you.
Especially if you're the one feeling like that you're making all the changes. Because that's what I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of people do, especially
A lot of
women.
it's one-sided, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like they feel the pressure to be the ones to make the changes to appease, the significant other.
Yeah. Yeah, which is kind of like a bummer. Because, and this goes into, like, there's, when you're Christian, the big thing that comes up with dating, and there's pastors who will talk about it now and be like, you don't bring this up when you're dating. This is only for marriage, but, like, the concept of submitting to your partner.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess a lot of guys will try to use that when they're dating and as like a kind of like a manipulative
Yes.
tactic to be
Yes.
like, you need to submit to me
Mm-hmm.
because you're not my husband.
Yeah.
I am not married to you. I have no obligation to you whatsoever.
Okay. Even in marriage, but both people submit.
Talk more about that.
It is an equal partnership that you're going into, and both people will bring something new to the table, or something different to the table. So it's not like this whole, like, neither person makes the final decision, or they shouldn't be making the final decision, because it's both of your lives, especially if it equally impacts both of your
Period.
lives.
Period.
There's
You heard that, ladies? This is a man.
I'm a man. But yeah, things should be equal. Decisions should be made together. Because that's what's going to lead to animosity down the road. Is if you're out here trying to make all the decisions and saying, no, I know you feel this way, but and I know you felt this way this last time, but we're going to keep going with, like, what I think is, like, best, because I know best. That's gaslighty too. People lighting gas all up in the place.
But yeah, I just think I do think that that's an important thing. You should know when you, and that's like a conflict thing. So there's how do you communicate, how do you make plans, and how do you handle conflict between. I'm not asking you.
Oh, okay, I was about to say,
No.
you just, like, barrage questions
I'm not
out. I was like,
asking you. I'm
okay.
saying, like, people need to think about that. Is like,
yes.
how do we make plans? Which means, like, how do we negotiate? And how do we have conflict? Which
Right.
is like a little bit of negotiation. It's a little bit of, like, therapy, conflict resolution.
Yeah.
And do we scream at each other? Do we
yes.
not really talk about it and we
Right.
just, like, let it blow over? Do we, how much emotion do we want in a moment of conflict? Or do we need to be like, you just need to give me 5 minutes? And some people won't. Some people will not give the other person time.
If it's like
If they
5
need
minutes
it.
is like nothing to, like, if they need it to just think real quick. And I think the reason someone may not be willing to give that 5 minutes is because they're just really freaking out. They're like, what are they going to be thinking about within those 5 minutes? What conclusion are they going to come to? Are they going to see me as being overbearing? But really the problem is that you're coming off as overbearing by not giving them the 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And the thing about, I think that especially early on in the relationship, one of the most important baselines that are set is how you handle conflict.
Yep.
Because if you do go into it, like, allowing each other to yell or and cuss and all this other stuff, you're setting that as the baseline for the rest of your relationship, and it'll be
is so
very
difficult
hard
to
to
change.
reduce it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is. That is now a part of your pattern.
Yeah. Yep.
And if you like that, cool. But also know that they may not be great for, if you decide to have kids.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
That's a lot. That's a lot to put in front of them.
It is.
Or if you're just, like, out and about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if that's how you handle problems, that's how you're going to handle a problem in front of other people.
Mm-hmm.
And and then that can cause issues with your friendships. They'd be like, I don't really want to be around this.
Right.
type of
Or
thing.
it could even flow over onto how you treat your friendships. You could be
Yeah.
yelling at them or
Yeah.
start yelling at them too whenever you start having conflict. I think for me, it very much is the give me a little bit and I'll come back.
Like, that's what you're more like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to, not because I'm like angry and I need to simmer, but I just need to like think about it and process it because I'm a very, in my head person type of person. So that's like the best way that it works for me. But there has never been one time in which Cam or I have yelled at the other person or cussed angrily at the other person. We'll do it jokingly for fun and we'll laugh about it. But we've never done it angrily. And if I were to ever yell at her, she would probably cry.
Yeah.
So it's just because we've set that baseline.
Yeah.
So if that were to happen, it's like that's unexpected. It's jarring. It's like, what is happening now? Yeah.
To what you guys have decided, how you want to be spoken to.
Yep.
And you're allowed to try to, within reason, of course. You can state your preference for how you want people to speak to you. And it doesn't mean that, like I said, within reason. Don't get carried away. I'm definitely like, I have to take some time too. And really it's like not even, because it's not just anger. Sometimes it can be fear or sadness,
confusion.
Confusion. And really my thing is like, I feel my emotions like they are all consuming. Feeling my emotions is a full body experience for me.
Yeah.
And I'm sure somebody out there can relate. Like, I don't have emotions, I have feelings. And so I need some distance. Like when you first get, hit in the leg or something like that, it hurts. And then the pain kind of fades, but it's there.
Right.
And like that is the level of distance I need from almost every emotion.
Right. You know what happened. You know why it hurts.
Yeah.
And you're not just like, because it's like if someone hits their head on something and you're like, are you okay? And they're like, they hold up their finger and they're just like breathing, a second. They're like, give me a second. That's, that's like the same thing.
It's the same thing. And that's like including happiness. Like sometimes I need distance from my happiness, because if you catch me in a moment where my feelings are being felt, it's not the most rational part of me.
Right.
And so I just need time to come to my senses, like a little bit. And that's something that I think I've tried to be better about communicating with my friends as well as my partners, is like, I have feelings. I have big
guess what?
I have big feelings. They're hard to contain sometimes. I can be moody. I'm sorry.
But that's the communication part though. And that's why information is so important, because then that's what creates that understanding. They can expect it, or they can know what's going on, and they can be able to tell themselves, this isn't something that I need to necessarily worry about. They are having a moment of their own.
Yeah, and
they can get through it.
That's what I try to communicate now, is that like, it doesn't, I promise it's not you. This is just what I'm like, and if you give me a second, I will come back to normal. And I think that is like, that's a big determinant of trust for me, is like, can I tell you this kind of embarrassing thing, which is like, sometimes I get a little worked up, good or bad, and I need a second. Are you going to walk away? Because I just recently had that conversation like today with someone, with the person I'm dating, of like, I have a tendency to push people away if I'm afraid. And so if you start telling me things that I can use to put distance between us, I'm going to start doing that. And if it starts to happen, like, we should talk about it, and I'm going to try to be better about being upfront about it. But, like, know that it's not because of anything that you did. It is a part of me being fearful and navigating my need to protect myself from investing and feeling foolish.
And I think it's a little bit two-pronged too, because what you don't want is for that person to feel really pushed away and upset, and then, like you said, leave. But maybe what you also don't want either is for them to try to take some level of responsibility for it and
Exactly.
insert themselves too much into the situation
Exactly.
too.
Yeah.
So it's like it goes both ways, and it's like just
Let
let
me-
this, yeah.
Let me go through my process.
Mhm.
And I think that's how the conversation kind of resolved, was like, if you start to feel like that, just come to me.
Mhm.
And if you need reassurance, I will give it to you.
Mhm.
And like that's the kind of thing that I feel like is like a green flag for me, is like if I communicate to you like I have a tendency to do this, but I really am working on it. Can you help me? And the person wants to help you get better or to feel stronger or to develop confidence. Because that was also like the conversation was like, I wish I could help you. I want to help you.
Right.
So, and I don't want you to feel this way, especially about me. That was like partnership
Mhm.
in a very positive way, because that's what I think when you start going through dating, once you go from the we'll see how it goes to trying to determine an intention for this thing, that is really helpful. Is like, do you want a traditional marriage? Do you want a more contemporary partnership? Do you want a business arrangement?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which a lot of people do.
They do. Yeah.
You know, what kind of, because this is the backbone, whether you want to realize, like, accept it or not. If you decide to partner with somebody, that is the foundation, the spine, whatever,
Mhm.
of your life for the rest of the time that you're in that. And that sounds crazy. Like, it sounds terrifying.
And it is. It can be.
Like, binding yourself to someone else and saying, like, okay, this is the,
It requires a lot of trust.
and that's just, like, the hardest thing to come by these days.
It is. It
Right.
is.
No, we don't trust, nobody trusts anybody anymore.
No, we've become a lot more fearful as a
Yeah.
society,
Yeah.
just in general, too.
Yeah. So I don't know. And I think it shows. I think it shows in the way that people struggle to form
Hmm.
relationships.
Intimacy,
at all.
bonds in
Yeah.
any kind of way. Yeah.
Yeah, because you just don't know.
Lack of openness. Because it's not a negative thing to be open. The reason people think that it might be negative is because they say, well, if I do this, I've been hurt before. People have hurt me. But it's not because you were open. It's because they were booty holes.
They were hurtful people.
Yes.
That is a very important point.
It is.
Because I will
Yeah.
hear people, I was listening to a podcast where somebody was saying, like, don't ever tell the guy that you're with the things that your guy did in the past, because now he knows what he can get away with. Only a bad person is thinking like that.
Yes.
If somebody does that, if you open up to somebody and you tell them these are the things that I've been through, and they start doing those things because they're like, okay, well, at least you'll put up with this, you should leave that
Yeah.
person. It wasn't because of you.
And if you're worried that you won't be able to leave someone who
No.
starts doing those things again, you shouldn't be dating.
At all?
If you were in a relationship with somebody and they were harming you in some way, emotionally, whatever, and you found it difficult to leave, and finally you were able to, maybe through the assistance of others, family, friends, whatever, and you start dating someone else, and you start thinking, well, I don't know, like, I don't know if I'd be able to leave if this person started doing this too. I think it would be difficult, or anyone. You shouldn't be dating until you get past that. Until you find the resolve within yourself to stand up for yourself, you shouldn't be dating, I don't think. Because then you're allowing yourself to place yourself in a scenario where you're going to be treated badly, and you could end up marrying that person if you don't have the wherewithal to be able to take yourself out of it.
Yeah.
And you're not always going to have people around you in the same way maybe you did before to be able to assist you out of that. So you can't always rely on other people either. You are the final frontier.
That is an interesting thing. Like, there's a thing that does kind of have to happen in life, not just in a relationship, but some people don't like it, but like the radical like accountability for your life, where like you got to be like, and this happened, like I think this is why I started to get better, emotionally and mentally, because I was like, now granted, I'm a Christian woman. Let's keep that in mind, because it was in my mind when I said it. I was aware of it, but I also thought to myself, nobody's coming to save you. And that really did be like, so you gotta get up.
Yes.
You have to, if somebody bursts into your apartment in the middle of the night, you gotta fight them off. If somebody is being a jerk to you, you need to stand up for yourself.
Right.
You can't just let people talk. Like, everything you do needs to be a direct reflection of what you chose. And you need to be choosing. You don't just be passive like, oh, la, la, la. Because that is a choice. You're still choosing.
Yes.
And so don't like shirk the responsibility that you have, especially when you're in a relationship, to make sure that you're okay.
Right. And that's why I don't get like all the talk about like telling women that they should and can rely on their man for protecting them, because
I'm not doing that.
They're not always going to be around. One,
right.
Two, sometimes it's the people that you love the most that hurt you the most. And so who's going to protect you from the person that's supposed to be protecting you, if not yourself?
Yeah.
So,
which we know it's hard to get out of a really
yes, it can be
dangerous. Like, if it's really dangerous, and you
do what you can.
Yeah, and definitely try to get some support, whatever support you can, to get away and get out of that situation. And, to, like Zach's kind of saying, to get the skills and resources to never have to be in that situation again. Because it's done, some of it can be not foreseen. You can be in a relationship with somebody, and maybe they have an accident, or they start...
Right. Or people are really good at putting facades on, too.
Yeah, or they were just intentionally deceptive, and then you ended up in a world that you didn't even conceive of.
It happens.
Yeah, and it happens, and that is no fault. That doesn't make you... That's not your fault. And hopefully you can really do what you can to get out of it. But
that's why it is important to live with people. Going back to that, and like gathering as much information about the person as possible before you really solidify yourself in being with them.
Yeah, which is kind of like I think a lot of people put that off because it ruins the fun.
Yeah, it feels more serious at that point. Because I mean, all besides the title, it's marriage to some extent. All besides the title.
Yeah, whether you're just cohabitating or you're you walk down the aisle. If you're in a long-term partnership, that is your partner.
Yep.
You are, especially if you decide to share financial situations or a home or have a kid together. Yeah, and you can do all these cognitive things, like you said, to make yourself feel more comfortable. But that's you're married.
Right.
You're bound in some way.
Yep.
I think, what's your number one piece of dating advice and then marriage advice?
For dating, I would say go into it, it's normal to be nervous, but go into it trying to just be as much of yourself as you are. Because any kind of attempt to try to come off a certain way that doesn't line up with you as you typically are is fake. It's fake. And you're presenting something to a person who's going to perceive you that way. And once they get to really know you and you start to feel more comfortable and the real you starts coming out some, then that might be someone that they're not as into. And so then you've wasted time because you weren't being yourself up front. So just be yourself for real. And that's one of the cliches that is true.
Yeah.
That works and that you need to hold on to is really just like when they say put yourself out there, they mean put yourself out there. Crazy as it seems.
You.
Yes. Y-O-U.
Yeah.
And for marriage, once you've already gotten to that point, I would say consistent communication and openness really is like when they say communication is key, that's another cliche. That's right on point too. Because if you're not communicating well with your partner, then that is when you are going to see some animosity come up, and it might be hard sometimes. There might be things that you are going to feel really uncomfortable, telling them. But you have to do it if you want it to, because growth doesn't come from being complacent. It comes from putting yourself out there and allowing yourself and your partner to feel those negative feelings so that you can work through it and grow from it together. So that's what I would say.
No, it's beautiful.
What would you say for what do you think on those?
About what you said?
Well, that and your own thoughts as well.
I think those are good. I think for dating, it's something similar. I would say be honest with yourself about what you like, what you hope your life to look like, who you are. I don't always feel like I can be really closed off from people. I can be really cold sometimes, and it's not on purpose. Because, I think for the people who really know me, I'm a very warm person, and I can be very bubbly, and I will, for the most part,
yeah,
I'll show up for you. Sometimes I won't, sorry. But it's only if I do, when it counts, I will 1,000% always be there.
When it counts and when you agree.
And when I agree.
Don't be there for people you don't agree with what they're doing.
Yeah, don't do that. And I think that's if you're part of the honesty is being willing to show people what you're really like and not feel like you have to be a persona.
Right.
And sometimes I think I have to present myself in this very perfect way. And
consistent way.
Perfect and consistent. And I'm the least I'm consistently
inconsistent.
And I wouldn't even say that. It's just my consistent if you're going from A to back to A, it's circular. And so it's just going to take longer versus some people may go A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B.
Right.
And I'm just A, B, C, D, but I'm going to hit every point. And it's, you just got to find the rhythm. And so I think just being willing to show people that is something that I had to learn. Be honest about that instead of trying to act like I'm an A, B, A, B, A, B person.
Right.
Because I'm not. And then I think I will give a piece of breakup advice. When you break up with someone, especially if you thought you were going to spend your life with that person, give your grief.
Oh, time for that?
Yes. Don't just move on. You should move on eventually, and you should put yourself out there, and you should reconnect with what you love to do. I think one of the coolest pieces of dating advice that I heard is this person should fit into the life that you have already built for yourself.
Right.
And so when you think about the future, about who you want to be with in the future, if you want to continue dating, build the life that you want the other person to come into. But before you do that, or while you're doing it, because it doesn't happen in a straight line, allow yourself to grieve the life you thought you were going to have. And do it and be ugly about it. Cry or
let yourself feel.
Yeah, feel everything that you're going to feel from it, because it's a loss to harken back to another episode. It is a kind of death. And you have to grieve it so that you can heal and you can move forward in a better way.
That time, kind of with along the lines of what you were saying with knowing who you are too, sometimes that time is also needed to almost rediscover yourself too. Because if you were in a relationship for a few years or so with somebody, depending on what that relationship was sometimes you could have lost pieces or found pieces that you liked but weren't able to really, go for them either. So that time can also be used to really like anchor back down into what you had before or these new things that you would like to explore as well.
Yeah, because you're definitely always becoming somewhat new. And that's a lot of fun. And so that's where the joy can be had in being single. And my sister, when I was single, kept being like, you need to watch the movie How to Be Single. And I was like, no. And she kept saying it. So one day I think she just, I don't know, I think I just watched it on my own. Watch that movie. If you're single, while you're single, watch that movie. And also read the book, The Defining Decade. The author's is like Meg something or other.
Megan Thee Stallion, I think.
No, that's not her. But Google it, The Defining Decade. While you're single, even if you're like in your 40s or 50s, I think reading that book can be helpful to know like the big push in that book is to develop or to acquire your identity capital. The things that make you you, the things that can, the weak ties that the author talks about that will lead to a job or lead to your partner or, the things that enrich your life or knowing if you're on a quest for glory instead of like actually taking real steps to building the life that you want, going back to school, whatever. And I felt like that book was really helpful for me. I think I read it after my breakup because I was lost. I was trying to build my whole life off that thing, off that relationship. It was, it's what I was really banking on. And so after that, which I mean, we're still cool. He's still a wonderful person. We're still friends, but find yourself. And that book is really helpful. And that movie is really good. So.
New homework. Yeah. 2 pieces of homework.
Read that book.
Watch that movie.
Yeah.
And thank you all for listening. Thank you all for listening. Farewell. We appreciate you tuning in to the podcast. As always, if you have any ideas or anything you'd like to add, feel free to comment down below. We appreciate you. A to Zers.
We'll work on it.
We'll work on that.
The betas.
The alphabeters. The betas. Thank you all.
All the betas of the world.
Tune in.
Podcast.
Tune in.
Zach and I, neither one of us are betas.
No. We're both Oompa Loompas, I would say.
That's not. Okay. Goodbye.
Goodbye.